As Pakistan prepares to host the Regional Transport Ministers' Conference on 23rd October, one name keeps surfacing at the heart of the discussion: the National Logistics Corporation, known as the NLC. It's not just another enterprise. It's fast becoming a symbol of how Pakistan is trying to rethink regional trade and transport corridors in an era when supply chains everywhere are being tested. Think about the last few years. Pandemics, shipping bottlenecks, even wars and protectionist policies all have exposed just how fragile the world logistics networks really are. So what happens when global supply chains get messy? Countries start looking inward and around for shorter, safer, and more flexible routes. That is where NLC's story gets interesting. Pakistan sits in a rare geographic position, a literal crossroads linking South Asia, Central Asia, and the Arabian Sea. It's a location that economists have long called a geoeconomic asset. But here's the catch: that potential has not fully paid off. Studies on regional trade point to familiar issues like fragmented policies, infrastructure gaps, especially rail, and an over-reliance on a handful of foreign maritime operators. In other words, Pakistan has the geographical advantage, but until recently, it had not fully mapped out how to use it. That's beginning to change. The 2024-2025 period was by many accounts one of NLC's most productive years. The organization handled more than 206,000 domestic shipments, serving heavy industries like fertilizer, cement, steel, and coal, as well as fast-moving consumer goods. To put that in perspective, nearly 1 million tons of fertilizer alone moved under NLC's watch, alongside major lifts of wheat, cotton yarn, gypsum, cement, and sugar. But it's not just about volume. NLC has been quietly modernizing how logistics are done. The fleet now includes new reefer trucks and curtain-sided vehicles for TIR operations. And through digital tools like geofencing and real-time route monitoring, safety and reliability have taken a leap forward. It's a mix of old-fashioned logistics muscle and smart tech, something that is increasingly defining 21st century transport systems. Now, regionally, the story takes on an even bigger dimension. In 2024, NLC managed a first-of-its-kind shipment from Karachi all the way to Warsaw, yes, Poland, carrying garments overland through Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and the Balkans. That single route showed that Pakistan can, in fact, connect exporters to European markets without depending solely on sea lanes. Another corridor, tested between Pakistan and Uzbekistan, took a creative detour via China and Kyrgyzstan. The point was not just to explore a new map line. It was to bypass the vulnerable routes in Afghanistan and reduce dependence on only one route. And through expanded multimodal TIR services from Pakistani ports to Central Asia and China, NLC has already shaved off 2 to 3 weeks in some trade flows. That's a big deal in logistics, where time really is money. Partnerships have also been key. NLC's joint venture with an international shipping operator, for instance, has opened a direct Karachi-Chittagong route. Since launched, it's moved more than 1,000 containers, with plans to introduce 2 1,100 TEU vessels and even a dedicated edible oil carrier in 2025. These are not just shipping stats. They're part of a deliberate strategy to integrate Pakistan's logistics sector into a wider regional ecosystem, one that includes dry ports, inland terminals, and planned logistics parks. And that brings us to the bigger vision. NLC's transformation plan for 2023-2027 aims to turn it into a full third-party logistics provider. That means not just moving goods, but managing entire supply chains, from warehousing to cold storage to last-mile delivery. Those cold chain investments, by the way, are not just a technical upgrade. They are a gateway to expanding agri-exports to Central Asia and China, where keeping perishable goods fresh determines whether you make or lose money. But of course, logistics does not happen in isolation. The upcoming Regional Transport Ministers' Conference is a chance to address the bigger coordination puzzle, the one that has long divided Pakistan's connectivity agenda across multiple ministries. Experts have been calling for a single, high-level coordinating body to align trade, transport, and foreign policy objectives. Imagine if NLC's operational capacity could serve as the practical arm of that unified framework by converting policy talk into measurable progress. Now, it's worth noting that NLC has not limited itself to business metrics. It has also taken on social roles, from humanitarian relief shipments to sponsoring national sports and community projects. That dual identity, commercial operator and public actor, has helped the organization maintain credibility at home and abroad. Looking at the bigger picture, a neutral reading of NLC's progress shows a pragmatic blend of capacity building, partnerships, and corridor experimentation. Yes, challenges remain. Rail modernization, tariff alignment, and consistent policy coordination all still need attention. But Pakistan now enters the 2025 conference with a stronger toolkit. And perhaps more importantly, proof that regional connectivity is not just a slogan. It is already happening on the ground. If the conference leads to concrete action, then NLC's expanding capabilities could become the bridge between policy and performance. And that is the real test, turning regional vision into delivered connectivity. The pieces are in place. Now will Pakistan connect the dots? Do let us know your thoughts. Allah Hafiz.